Good morning. So, today in disaster management, we are going to learn about hydrometeorological hazards. Okay. In hydrometeorological hazards, we will uh, see and learn various hydrological, that is, water and meteorological related or climatic related hazards that are there. Okay. So, hydrometeorological hazards are the process or phenomena of atmospheric, hydrological, or oceanographic nature and may cause loss of life, injury, or other health impact or property damage, loss of livelihood and services, and social and economic disruption, or even environmental damages. Okay. Hydrometeorological hazards includes tropical cyclone, typhoon, hurricane, twisters. Are a part of hydrometeorological uh, hazards. Even thunderstorms, hailstorms, cold wave, heavy snowfall, floods, drought, heat waves, storm surges, avalanches, blizzards are all part of hydrometeorological hazards. The hydrometeorological hazard conditions can also be a factor in other hazards such as landslide, wildfire, locust plague, epidemic, and volcanic eruptions. Like for example, I say landslide. Landslides can be triggered due to heavy rainfall or basically due to heavy rainfall. It can be triggered due to the landslide can be triggered. Wildfire, a thunderstorm can initiate a fire. A very dry climate with windy climate can initiate a wildfire. Similarly, a dry season with some human activity can initiate a wildfire. Locust, whenever there is a season of dry spell, locust plague there is a threat of plague arising, that is small grasshopper increasing in their production and productivity so much that but they start covering large areas and in consuming large agricultural land, and eating away all your agriculture products. So that is locust plague. So like last year, like in 2020, Rajasthan has faced a locust plague that has come flown from Pakistan and from the Middle Eastern countries. That has it originated from Middle Eastern countries and flown over Pakistan towards India. That is the western part of the country it has come across. Now, epidemic. No, various epidemics can be initiated by hydrometeorological activities, like flood can initiate vector-borne diseases that can turn into epidemic. Flood Contaminated flood water can initiate cholera and typhoid like situation that can also turn into epidemic if consumed by a very large number of people. Then volcanic eruptions can also be part of these hydrometeorological um, activities. Now, potential hydrometeorological hazards are cyclone. um, there is a different name for cyclone is typhoon and tornadoes, and even hurricane. Okay. So there are different names of different parts of the world. It is called floods, storm surges, thunderstorms, then heat wave, and then the oscillation of El Nino and La Nina affect it affects El Nino and La Nina phenomena affects globally. This it globally affects the climate over the world. Now, taking one by one each hazards we are going to discuss. Like first, we are going to talk about cyclone. A cyclone is an intensive low pressure system which is characterized by strong spiraling wind towards the center. The and the center is called the eye, and it turns counter. anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. So hazard, this due to the tropical cyclone are really strong winds with very heavy rainfall. It can cause a widespread flooding, flash floods, storms, and landslides, or even mud flow. Okay. Then we have various classifications of cyclone, that is tropical depression, tropical storm, and typhoon, or turning into typhoon. So the first stage of a cyclone is tropical depression. So first it starts with a tropical depression, where the maximum wind speed is about 35 kilometers per hour. So it is not a very very strong galing winds. So it is called tropical depression. It develops to a tropical storm when it crosses the speed limit of 65 kilometers to 118 kilometer per hour. And then we come across a typhoonic level of cyclone, when it exceeds the limit speed limit, or the wind speed limit of 118 kilometer per hour. So it becomes a typhoon or a cyclone, which can have a very devastating effect. Okay. A typhoon is a large, powerful, and a violent as tropical cyclone. So it is also a low pressure area rotating counter clockwise, and containing rising warm air that forms over a warm water in the western Pacific Ocean. So less powerful tropical ocean, a cyclone are called tropical depression and tropical storms. A typhoon is called a hurricane in Atlantic Ocean, or a cyclone in Indian Ocean. So typhoon can in or is called hurricane in Atlantic Ocean. So between the eastern part of America, uh, eastern coast of America, and the western coast of what do you call the Europe, will be facing cyclonic storm is known as hurricane in there. And then typhoon in of course in the Pacific belt, and in Indian Ocean we know it as cyclone, and willy willy in Australia. So cyclone in Australian continent, that is there in New Zealand and Australia, it is known as willy willy. Typhoon can inflict, or cyclone can inflict terrible damage due to thunderstorms, violent winds, torrential rain, floods, landslides, and large and a very big wave associated with these storms are also there. So these are then these are thunderstorms. This is how it looks like in a meteorological chart. Thunderstorms. A thunderstorms is a weather condition that produces lightning and under heavy rainfall from accumulation of cloud, and possible a tornado through a tornado or a typhoon. So it is a violent local disturbance accompanied by lightning and thunder and heavy rainfall, and often is by a strong gust of wind, and sometimes also by hailstorms. A tropical thunderstorms caused by convection occurs when the sun's warmth has heated a large body of moist air near the ground, and the air rises and is and is called by its expansion. The cooling condenses, and the water vapor present in the air. The forming of an cumulus cloud will lead to thunderstorms. Then we have tornadoes. A tornado is described as a violent rotating column of air extending from thunderstorm to the ground. So, tornado comes in many sizes. There are typically in the form of visible condensation funnel, which is narrow and touches the earth. So it this tornado phenomena is very common in uh, in, uh, United States, in the land of North America. It is very common there. uh, 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 there are tropical in the form of an visible condensation funnel, which comes down in a narrow and touches the earth. So it is often encircling by clouds of debris and material which has taken up from the ground. So it has a wide range of color depending on the environmental conditions. So typically many appear nearly transparent and invisible until the dust and debris are picked up by the wind movement. So it develops a severe thunderstorms in warm, unstable air along and ahead of the cold front. All right, so that's why it is very common in North American continent, because there are sudden variations of cold and hot front in that continent. So flash floods, okay, again thunderstorms can initiate flash floods. So a flash floods is a rapid flooding of geomorphic and low-lying areas like washes, rivers, and dry lakes and basins. Common cause of flash floods are heavy rainfall with severe thunderstorms, tropical storms, melting of ice like glacial burst, uh, cloud burst, snow flowing over ice sheets and snowfield, hurricane or cyclone. Flash floods may occur after the collapse of a natural ice or or even dam, or human structure such as man-made dams can cause to flash floods. Now flash floods are distinguished from regular floods by time lapse of less than 6 hours. Okay. This is how flash floods can put you under a distress. So flood is an inundation of land areas which are not normally covered by water. So a flood is usually caused by temporary rise or overflowing of river streams or other water courses, inundating adjustment and land or flood plains. Other factors causing floods are temporary rise of the water bodies like lakes and ponds, oceans and reservoirs, and other enclosed water bodies. Heavy and pronounced rainfall associated with tropical storms or cyclone monsoons, intertropical convergence zone, are active low pressure areas can be one of the factors of flooding. Debris jamming the drainage pattern, causing a river stream to overflow and flood the surrounding areas, can also lead to flood. Floods are basically a hydrological phenomena, but caused by storms. But when it is caused by storm surges and tsunamis along the coastal area, it is associated with hydrometeorological hazards. The two key elements are rainfall intensity and the duration. Then intensity in the rate of rainfall and the duration of how long the rainfall has lasted will contribute to flood. Then we have storm surges. Okay, storm surges is the rise of the seawater above normal sea level over the coastal areas, generated by the action of weather elements such as cyclonic winds, atmospheric pressure. Sea level is raised or and driven towards the coast, where the depth is shallow and the slope of the seabed is gradual. The natural flow of water is delayed by the effect of friction on the seabed. As more water moves from sea to coastal accesses, water piles up on the shoreline. This piling up of water makes a large volume of water, which might eventually flow into hinterland some distance from the coast, depending upon the slope of the coastline and the slope of the seabed. Storm surges can sweep across large portion of the coastal areas. La Nina. Now, La Nina and El Nino. Okay, now this is a phenomena of filling of ocean water in the Pacific region. Okay, in the Pacific region, what happens? It generally happens here when the ocean water upwells. It is a La Nina year. It will cause a dry season in these region, and heavy rainfall in the areas of Asiatic region. Okay, so a dry spell in the continent of America, that is North and South America, but a wet front on the uh, you know uh, uh, what do you call Asiatic regions. Okay, so this is basically due to the upwelling of the ocean current. El Nino is when the ocean current, warm ocean currents again submerge, and there is a dry spell in the Asia and the wet spell in the what do you call uh, the continent of America, right? So what happens in El Nino year is that all the air is moving from the western part of uh, uh, American continent towards the Asian part. So that's why there is a rainfall here. And in La Nina year, what happens is the movement of the wind is reversed, and it starts moving from here to here and causing heavy rainfall in these regions. That is La Nina year. Okay. So El Nino and La Nina are a complex weather pattern resulting from variations in the ocean temperature or ocean currents, which we call in an equatorial Pacific belt. So these phenomena are opposite phases of what is known as El Nino Southern Oscillation cycle. Okay, so El Nino sudden oscillation cycle is a scientific term that describes the fluctuation in temperature between the ocean and the atmosphere in the east central equatorial Pacific region. So it is approximately between the international dateline, that is about 120 degree west. La Nina is sometimes referred as the cold phase of east north southern oscillation, and El Nino as a warm phase of El Nino ocean currents. Okay, just hold on. Okay, so these deviation from normal surface temperature can have a large scale impact not only on ocean processes but also on a global weather climate. El Nino and La Nina episodes typically last about 9 to 12 months, but some prolonged events may last to about a year. So while their frequency can be, quite irregular, El Nino and La Nina event occurs on an average of every 2 to 7 years. So typically, El Nino occurs more frequently than that of La Nina. Okay, then we have some typhoon hurricane regions, general sequence of the events that could occur during the development of the category from two typhoon to hurricane category that is approaching in the coastal areas. All right, so it is about like within 26 hours before the landfall. At the first, they are an apparent sign of storms, and barometer is steady, and winds are light and variable, and fair weather cumulus cloud can appear at the horizon. Then we have in within 72 hours before the landfall, little has changed, and except that there is a swell in the ocean currents and ocean water surface. It has increased from about 6 feet, and the wave have come in very for in every 9 seconds. That means that the storm is on the way, and far and it can be seen from a far off horizon, uh, that it is going to approach. So before 48 hours before the landfall, the sky is now clear of clouds and the barometer is steady. and the wind is almost calm. The swell is now about 9 feet, and the coming in, it is coming in every 8 seconds. Okay, 36 hours before the landfall, the first sign of the storm appears. The barometer is falling slightly, and the wind is around 11 miles per hour, and the ocean swell is about 13 feet and is coming in every 7 seconds apart. Okay, then we have on the horizon a large mass of white cirrus cloud appears as a veil of cloud approaching it, and it covers more of the horizon. The hurricane watch is issued, and the area with a large evacuation time are given in order to evacuate those regions. 30 hours before the landfall, the sky is covered with high overcast clouds, and the barometer falls further as 1 millibar per hour, and wind picks up speed to about 23 miles per hour, and the ocean swells for becoming about in 5 seconds apart, and it begin there is a beginning to be an obscured wind that is driving the wave in a small white cap like formation. That a frothy ocean formation has started appearing on the ocean surface. The tools for tracking these are satellite images, basically meteorological department or surveillance these things. So the satellite is the most advanced technology used to monitor a cyclone or a typhoon, and it can visualize exactly in real time and formation and the path of the cyclone. So in real time also we can monitor it through cyclone the satellites. So there are weather satellites into the atmosphere that helps in uh, giving us directions for how it has developed, right? Radar now, coming to explain, and Doppler radar can also be used for detecting and ranging of the upcoming cyclone. Just hold on 1 minute. Yeah, okay. So, coming to Doppler radar. So, Doppler radar are for detection and ranging the cyclone. So, radar detecting devices that emits and receives the radio waves to determine the distance from the source to the object by measuring the time it has taken to echo the wave to its return, right? Um Okay, let's first address one issue is that there are many meteorological satellites, but Indian meteorological satellite like INSAT, it has a very uh, mm, it has proven a very beneficial for you know, addressing the cyclone and how it has developed throughout the time. Okay, so ISRO is one of the member. ISRO is being, developing such, constantly developing satellites, and specifically, it has, uh, able to achieve a great success in developing a meteorological satellite which has given an accurate assessment of, climatic conditions over the Indian Ocean. Now coming to Doppler, a specific weather radar measure that the direction and the speed of the moving object, such as, precipitation, and has a capacity to measure the velocity of the particulates in radar to, determine the rate of which the particles are falling. Okay, so how does radar works? Okay, a Doppler radar bounces the sound wave of the storm cloud. A Doppler radar can tell if the raindrops are moving towards or away from the observer, or from the antenna, and it can spot the spinning movement of the cloud. So it can spot the movement of the cloud also. So it helps the scientists predicting which way the storm will travel, and what is the direction of the movement. Now we are going to talk about the mitigation and preparedness of the same. So, if the following preparedness and mitigation strategies are adopted from uh, the Department of Education and Risk Reduction resources, and there are a manual issue from the NDMA and NDRF, can make us prepared for establishing, proper coordination between, the state agencies and the, that means the and the district agencies, and on to the ground level working. So the to learn more about typhoon and more about cyclone and various hydrometeorological situation, we can depend and associate our learning system from the meteorological department of our country. Now response, well, how do we need to respond to the hydrometeorological disaster or hazards? So we monitor through radios and satellite images how, the cyclone has been progressing. Monitoring is one of the part of, how we are going to do with the sorry, where is the monitoring gone? Yeah, so for preparedness, first we have to monitor it. Then during response phase also, we monitor what is the progress and the extent of the losses. Then during rehabilitation, s- uh, what we do is that how, and what are the areas that has been affected, and which are the areas that we need to, rehabilitate. The cases of major, and minor assistance that are required can only be addressed through, addressing the rehabilitation activities, right? Then in thunderstorms preparedness, what we can do is we can develop uh, family preparedness plan. Uh, in cases of severe thunderstorms, a specific plan can be included in the following, may be like, learn more about of your area, and how often the thunder can strike, and what is the risk level in those areas. Discuss how you would know if the thunderstorm may produce a tornado or not. Then you can, develop and learn more about the warning system, and approach the uh, you know re- required for the required assistance. Recommend the trimming and the, removal of the dead and rotting trees that could fall and may cause furthermore damages during thunderstorms. Secure the outdoor objects that would, blow away and cause more damages. Secure the house doors and windows with both inside and outside. Learn how to estimate the distance of, thunder cloud by computing the different time between the seeing of the flashlights and the hearing of the claps of the thunder. Then response is again what during, the thunderstorm, lightning safety positions. What are the lightning safety position? How to stay away from the structures and trees, towers and fences, telephone lines or power lines out of, for protecting yourself from the thunderstorms, being carefully watching over the falling debris and flash flooding situation, staying calm throughout the occurrence of the thunderstorms will be very beneficial at the from dealing with the situation. Then it will postpone the outdoor activities, avoid the plumbing and bathroom fixtures that are good conductors of electricity. Plumbing materials are very good conductors of electricity, so during thunderstorm one must not try to address these issues. Then you have to unplug the electric appliances so that they do not transmit the remnant electricity which is coming through the thunderstorms. Turn off the air conditioning, television and all the electric appliances. Choosing and moving to a safer place in your house, trying to put your family members into gathering position during the thunderstorm, preferably at a lower floor, and at and exposing lesser to the elements. There's a position for lightning storm, like how you survive a lightning strike. If you can survive a lightning strike but just not doing anything, but just attaching your both the feet together, that will limit the lightning to transfer through it and complete the entire cycle. So if you touch your feet together, keep your heels together during lightning strike, it will prevent you from getting a residual electrocution. Okay, that is the only way you can prevent yourself from getting electrocuted during lightning strike. Okay, tornado preparedness, like develop a preparedness plan for tornadoes, how, or cyclones. We have talked about that. A response, how you can do is like predicting it. First of all, first thing is monitor it, how fast the cyclone is developing, what is the expected time of landfall is there, and in case after the once the landfall has happened, what actions you are supposed to take. Like you should close away your doors and windows, keep yourself inside, secure the outdoor elements that can turn out to be free, and fringes that can turn out to be fatal. um, then you have to secure yourself during the landfall situation where the wind is very fast. In the area where it is facing the landfall, that area should be evacuated, or the people should be facilitated into a safer place. Rehabilitation, those immediately after the movement or aftermath of the passing of the landfall, what you can do is attend the survival and immediately giving them assistance, medical assistance, and other assistance if required. Rescue operations can be done to them. Now floods and flash floods, there also what you can do is like identify the areas that are frequently getting flooded and flash floodings are there, so avoid those areas. Warning systems can be issued before the heavy rainfall, or in case of any dams that has broken away. Okay, so that a warning system can be given so the people can be evacuated from the lower flow of the rivers and the reaches of the dam. Flash flood emergency equipments kits can be done, like first aid kits, necessary food items can be packed up, portable radios and batteries, and ropes can be kept with, so that you can utilize it to help rescue yourself and others. In response, you need to stay calm and update yourself with the current situation. Listen to having a continuous listening to the radio updates and communication, that what is the strategy and stage or that you are stuck in. Do not try to attempt the cross the streams or water body, any water body during the storm surges or the flash flood situation, and avoid area which are prone to flooding. Do not go swimming or boating during the storm surges or swelling of the rivers. Watch out from the animals, like during this uh, uh, flood flash flood situations. Many animals like snakes and other animals can turn out to be a harmful thing. Then should not consume water from open sources, because it can relate to contamination of water, which can give out furthermore secondary losses. Rehabilitation is means you are rehabilitating the entire community to a safer zone, immediately approaching agencies and authorities, re-establishing the basic services like electricity, water, safe water, drinking water, food, and medical assistance. Okay. Then you can identify the areas which are prone to storm surges, which are prone to all the various hazards of those areas can be identified, and stay away from those. Help evacuate and help participate in community activities, right? Or community, as a community you can help in response and rescue activities, will reduce the losses of the community. All right. Then you should help in reducing the debris and unrequired things from the locality, so that it does not cause a secondary degree of hazard or secondary degree of disaster. But different meteorological hazard maps, generating different hazard, meteorological map, hydrometeorological map will help you understand which are the areas which are more prone to floods and cyclones and flash floods, and heat waves, cold waves, and also all so forth. Okay. So like in case of India, we have um, a map developed, like on the entire coastal region are prone to cyclones and cyclonic storms, thunderstorms. They are prone to heavy rainfall and flash floods. Right. So we have identified those areas. If, along with that, we have identified areas with riverbeds, lower course of rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, all those areas are frequently flooding every year. So we identify it, map it, and understand that these areas could be avoided for and people can be given for early warning that there is going to be a heavy rainfall on these areas. So though, and those areas which are receiving heavy rainfalls will know locally that what are the local areas or fringes where flooding is a common phenomena, so they will avoid going to those areas, and that directions can be given. Then tropical storms again in Indian Peninsula, a part of the country, is more prone to tropical storms like cyclone, and eventually, like I keep on telling you that Arabian Sea in past 5 years, Arabian Sea is seeing a very frequent incident of severe storms converting into cyclonic typhoon like storms. India is also prone to a drought, because even though during rainy season we receive large number of rainfall, but due to faulty m- uh, m- management, water management, and not conscious management of water, there's a large part of the country which is prone to drought, specifically like the western part of the country. Then you have central part of the country, like in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, some parts of Andhra, Karnataka, some part of UP, Rajasthan, Gujarat are prone to drought. So if these regions being susceptible to drought, will put you into the status where you are facing a dry spell, and it can result into low yielding of your agricultural product, right? Now this is all for your uh, uh, like hydrometeorological hazards that we are facing and how we can deal with it. So I would request all of you to go to your LMS and take the quiz for the day. I hope I have answered all covered all the topics for that day.